Hello and welcome, book lovers. You are tuned in the podcast of the Reviewers, AKTRU, your go-to podcast for insightful conversation with remarkable authors. Today we have joining with us Prasad Deshpande and a talented author behind the book Shadyantra. Prasad sir, welcome to the show.
You're welcome and thank you.
Yes sir. So good afternoon sir, once again for the camera.
Good afternoon.
Uh,
Good
s-
afternoon.
yes sir. So sir, starting from the first question directly to the uh,
Okay.
So my first question will be, what inspired you to write the book Shadyant? Were there any specific experience or moments that sparkled the idea of the book?
Yes, definitely. It was my anger on China.
Yeah,
It was my anger on China for spreading the Chinese virus that killed millions of people around the globe and put a stop on the movement of people due to various lockdowns that were imposed by the governments across the globe. And further to that, not stopping at only the Chinese virus, they tried to invade us in Galwan. You simply cannot trust the expansionist China and its intentions. So that is what sparked me to write this particular book.
I have also listened to that news. T- There are some anger towards them also from my side.
No doubt, and I believe like China is much bigger threat than anybody else
Yeah,
to us.
as also we have seen that necklace or diamond next theory as like that. No?
Yeah, the pearl of strings
Yeah, pearl of string. Sorry.
and pearl of strings is the satellites and necklace of diamonds is the ports.
Yeah. So, the next question, were there any challenges that you encountered while writing Sadyant?
No, I actually did not face any kind of challenges because this was a story that I had been thinking, like writing about a spy. The only thing is the Chinese invasion and the spread of virus, and some political, I would say the corrupt politicians made me, like think about this particular story. And when I started writing about it, it just unfolded in a very simple way when I wrote it.
Yes, sir. So, are there any specific events which are also in the current affairs, or it's just fiction?
Yes, no. It is they are basically see. I wanted to bring attention to the Chinese apps which people are using. At that time, TikTok was not banned. Okay, the TikTok was not banned. There were many Chinese apps which were prevalent, and it made me think that like there it could be relaying all the data of the personal data of all the people in India to the Chinese server. And China is someone who is trying to like invade India. It's trying to make create problems for India. So I thought about various aspects which China could like think about or try to implement to destabilize our country. So that is the reason why like there are many things which I have written there as to which kind of apps could make problem, how they could make a problem. They may not be the problems, but they could make a problem. So that has been written on that.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Sir, I have recently seen in news that Bhutan is also making diplomatic relations with China. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, the thing is, China is trying to engulf all the neighbors. Like using the neighbors, it is trying to engulf India. So definitely, I have some other projects which are coming up related to that, which I will be unfolding the thoughts in those books.
Yes. So, sir, moving on to our next question, uh, it's about the book only. That what was the writing process of the book, and how much time did it take to complete the book?
Well, as I said, I had been thinking about the story for a long time, and when all these things happened, like whether it was the Galwan or whether it was the Chinese virus, and some corrupt politicians, trying to make some ground during this pandemic, it was a smooth writing, and it took me about 45 to 50 days to complete the story. The editing took a long time.
Okay, sir. So that's great, sir. So, sir, moving on to the next question, are there any particular authors of or the books that you encountered while writing your, which I think you influenced your writing style?
No, not basically any particular author or a book or a story. I've been an avid reader since my childhood. I have read many, many books in my lifetime till about a decade and a half back. That was when my job made it difficult to read because most of the time I spent on traveling and like meeting people. I can't say any particular author or books influenced this book, but maybe the authors that I may have read may have had some impact on my storytelling. Like since childhood, I have been reading the children's books like in Marathi, Hindi, and English. Now, since we are talking about an English book, I'll say that okay, I have read when I was a child, I read about Enid Blyton, I read Hardy Boys, I read Three Investigators, then I read Nancy Drew, those kind of books. Once I grew up, I started reading other books. In fact, the classics like from Charles Dickens or Victor Hugo or Sir Walter Scott and many more. Similarly, once I finished those, I started uh, reading the works of Shaw and Shakespeare. Then I turned on to the turn around to fiction, where I read many authors like uh, Arthur Halley, Alistair MacLean, or you could say Frederick Forsyth, Sidney Sheridan, James Hadley Chase, Agatha Christie, and likes of them. So I have been an avid reader, and I don't know which of those may have impacted my writing style, but
Yes,
I try to keep it as easy as possible for Indian readers for that.
yes, sir. So that's great, sir. Just a curious question. I would say that you have mentioned that your job has not given you much time on writing. So I'm just curious that if you can tell us about your professional activities except writing.
Oh, professional, I have been into sales and service for most of my time.
Yeah.
So like being in sales, I had to travel, and my travel was mostly during the night time. And during the day, I used to meet people. Sorry. So that is the reason why I could not read it much during the last 15 years or so. But before that, even during the travel, I used to read because my travel was, I would say, more only maximum in Mumbai itself. So in the local trains and other things, I used to read my books. In fact, I had a fight with my librarian because I used to borrow two books in a day.
So as you have mentioned, sir, that you have some books which you are working right now. So were there any specific upcoming project that you are looking for?
Well, in fact, one of the projects that I want all the Indians to read about is a book called Akhand Hind Fauj.
Boswan.
The Akhand, yeah, the Akhand Hind Fauj. It's not basically just about Subhash Chandra Bose. It's just there is just a mention of what Subhash Chandra Bose did for India, what is Azad Hind Fauj did for India. But this is something which I want Indians to read because it contains current political scenario, and I've tried to bring in something like Akhand Hind Fauj to put a curb on the wrong part of Indian politics and other things. So basically, the politicians, the smugglers, the terrorists, uh, the, I would say, like other kind of people who try to make, including the people who have infiltrated into India, whether they are Bangladeshis, Rohingyas, or Pakistanis, how they try and create trouble in India, and
Yes.
how this particular Akhand Hind Fauj tries to, like go around them and, like keep them at bay. So that is one thing which I want Indians to read because it tells about what we should be, like
Go
what
ahead.
we should be doing actually, where we should be more cautious. And about the upcoming books or the stories,
Yeah.
I would like to say that there is one fantasy action. It is a fantasy,
Yeah.
so that's going to be a different. But apart from that, another two books containing current situations. I would say political or whatever it is, political, geopolitical, current political and geopolitical situations. And again, I'm not going to leave China. So China is going to be one of my main villains.
Yeah. Not for only you, sir. I think I have also an interest in geopolitical knowledge, history, you can say, and current affairs also. So I think I also
Yeah.
have an interest on that topic also. So, sir, I just want to ask one more question that regarding book only. That
Yeah.
as you have said that Shadyantra is about China. So can you give an overview of the book so that anyone who just listening you for the first time, why should they read your book?
Okay. I'll tell you very honestly. I wanted to write a story on an Indian spy, a super spy of India. You must have watched James Bond movies, maybe some other spy movies. Now, I wanted to create one Indian spy in that character. So I thought of a story, and I thought of a character who could play that. And I wanted, and in fact, I myself am a huge fan of James Bond, especially the ones till the time like Pierce Brosnan worked, not that of Daniel Craig, but before that. And there was one particular character in those movies called Q. So that Q is like from the department of Q, which makes those gadgets for James Bond. So unfortunately, the person who used to portray that particular role, he was Mr. Sir Desmond Llewellyn. Unfortunately, he passed away. So I wanted to give him a tribute. So I started my book in the style of James Bond. Till the time I introduced this character of Dr. Sekaran, who looks like Q, who acts like Q. And after that, once that chapter was over, then I came back to my way of storytelling, and so that is one of the parts of this. That okay, this was one of kind of a trying to make a tribute to the great actor, but at the same time, you want to. So this is one spy story. So how spies might have could be working as of today. What kind of gadgets they might have today. What are the ways, and what are who are the enemies of Indian spies who could be around. They could be Pakistanis, ISI. They could be like the allies. You could say Nepalese or the Myanmar, Sayapa. So combining all these, I started working on that, and it is basically about China and corrupt politicians working against India. So that's how it goes.
Yes,
So
that's great.
there are a hell lot of characters. In fact, the media is also included
Yeah,
in this.
you can say that. Like so. Sir, I have another question regarding the China one. That
Mhm.
as we can say that everyone is focused on Pakistan mostly. That regarding their any
Yeah,
spy videos.
I don't consider Pakistan to be an enemy at all.
Yeah,
At least I can trust them that they are going to be the enemies. China is different. They don't show the enmity, but they are the enemies.
the Pakistan was in
You-
front of us, directly.
Yeah, they directly show the hatred. The Chinese are very wily ones. I don't trust them at all. And in fact, as I said in the upcoming books, I'm trying to figure out what else they could be thinking of. So in this, I thought about one particular way that China would try to, do some mischief. In the next books, I will try to cover other types that they might try to make a mischief.
So, sir,
So that is the way.
yes, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. I have another curious question that as in recent news we have seen that China is infiltrating towards Arunachal Pradesh. So, do you have
Yes.
any points on that also?
See, China is going to do these kind of mischiefs all around. First thing I tell you is that okay, their economy is going down. Okay. Secondly, the Xi Jinping has to save his face and his regime. So unless he does something like this, it's very simple. If Pakistan, someone in Pakistan wants to save his regime, what he will do is he will try to, attack India. He will show as if he's trying to attack India. That will, make him, grow the support of people towards him. Same thing is happening in China. They are trying to portray that India is one of the worst enemies that they have, and that India has to be curbed. So that is keeping the Chinese people as a supporting Xi Jinping. But I don't think that is going to last for long.
So, sir, I think in a economic perspective also, as you have said that the economy of China is going down, which everyone knows, after COVID, many big companies are just establishing their manufacturing unit to India also. So,
Mhm.
what are the future of Indian Chinese economy in upcoming 10 years? If you have any
Well,
point on that.
upcoming 10 years, I would say that okay, they are going to go down, but they are not going to go so much of down because they have already so many reserves. So they won't actually go down so below that they will hit the poverty line or like someone like Pakistan. Pakistan is on the verge of bankruptcy. China will not touch that bankruptcy level, but it will be hit hard because it's not only India, it's Malaysia, it's Vietnam, it's uh, I think Thailand and other South Asian countries that these are shifted. The factories are shifted from there. What the world has come to know as of today is they cannot put their eggs in one basket called China. Simple. So they are trying now different baskets. So majority of the basket is India, but there are other players. So they are trying to make it as a different. So China will be there, but it will be very. I would say in 10 years China would be very low as compared to India, as compared to Malaysia, as compared to uh, Indonesia, Vietnam. Singapore, you don't have space for a new factories to come in. But yes, Malaysia you do have. You do have it in Indonesia. You do have it in Vietnam. So the factories are shifting there all as well. So maybe one part is made in Vietnam, one in Malaysia, one in Indonesia, but the majority of the parts are made in India now.
So I have another question regarding China. That as we have seen that China is getting more powerful, and his opinions are more considered than India. So, are there any influence of USA also, if we can say?
Pardon, I couldn't understand that question.
That I just want to ask direct question that in the as China is increasing his presence all over the world, are there any influence of US also to just
No,
keep India low?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so because US is also showing their eyes to US. So US is trying to bring India up so that it can counter China. US will not have that influence. US is and US doesn't directly want US doesn't directly want war also with China. So it is trying to find options which can counter China and maybe have a direct war with them.
Got it.
So and the presence of the growth of China is something you don't have to worry about Chinese army. They are not at all by battle hardened. It has been shown by Indian army at least 3 or 4 times
Yes, on Galwan Ghati also,
on Galwan as well as in I think Arunachal Pradesh some part.
where they're infiltrated.
It, they just ran away. There are instances wherein in Africa where the UN forces are there. China is also a part of a UN force. So Chinese soldiers wherever they were placed, they begged for help from Indian soldiers to come and rescue them. So that is the Chinese army. So I don't have to, I don't think they are so positive about, beating anyone else. In, they tried to invade Vietnam and they were crushed. The Chinese army is nothing. Yes, maybe their missiles could be, but they are not, I have not seen them test those missiles. They do claim that they have got very high missiles. Obviously, they have a nuclear arsenal, which is a bit of a concern. But I don't think China will directly engage with war with India because it knows very well that Indians will beat them.
So as I can say that Russia is also one of them. That Russia and China are maintaining their diplomatic relations more than ever.
Ye- See, all states will try to maintain their diplomatic relations, but the diplomatic and defense relations of India and Russia are far higher than what they are with China. If you see, the S-400 has been stopped to China, but it is still being given to India. Like some certain deals where India is going to make Russian defense, like defense mechanisms, but China is not going to make them. So China is a big buyer for Russia. As of today, Russia is in a problem because of Ukraine war and sanctions. So it obviously wants to survive. So China is one of the big buyers. It will, they will have to keep a diplomatic relation with
So moving on to our last question, that what messages do you hope that readers will take from your book, Shadyan, in our
them.
view?
I want people to be wary of China and its various products, especially the apps. The apps could very well be spying on us, relaying all the important data to the servers based in China. The same thing I have said in Shadyantra also, how they could be doing it. You may not even know. You may not even know that okay that this is being that you are being spied upon in a very very simple thing. People were making TikTok videos. The background they used to make these TikTok videos anywhere and everywhere. The background the background was something that China could have studied. You never know. The locations, the locations. So you have a satellite, you have a location, a geoposition. You have this TikTok video coming from there. You look at the background. Okay, this particular place has got this. So that
And create a map kind of thing.
correct.
Yeah.
That is what has been told in Shadyantra. Now, in a very simple way, I don't think Truecaller is a Chinese app, but a similar app anywhere. It can be floated. What does these kind of apps do? They ask,
Also,
no, 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 not listen. They ask you to install that. They take the telephone book, like the phone book from your own telephone and upload it to the server, so that everyone who is listed in your phone book is now registered with them. Similarly, they ask someone else, they ask another person. Now, three people's database is in their book. So if you call any one of their numbers, you are shown, okay, this is the person who is trying to call you. But the data is where? Your own phone book. Data is in the server. Imagine the defense people using this.
that can be a problem, sir. That can be a problem.
And normally the defense people will write, like Major General Bakshi, this is the phone number. Major, like Captain Shukla, this is the number. So they will have all the information of everyone who they call. So
Yes.
that is a different ball game where like internet tries to play.
Uh, that's great talking to you, sir. And I have got, I think I can say that I have got insights regarding Chinese infiltration also. And with this question, I would like to wrap this podcast. So we can't wait to read your book, Shadyant, as I have also. I'm curious to read it now. My team has read it, but I have to read it also, cause
Also read the Akhand in the Fauj,
sir, that
because that contains current political situation of India,
I,
and you should be more aware of it than the Chinese one, because China is a distant threat, but our own politicians and like some mischief mongers, they are the current basic, I would say, the problems of India. They should be put at bay first.
yes, sir. I got your point, sir. So thank you, Prasad, sir, for sharing your insights regarding China with the book Sadyant. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. So that's wrap our
You're welcome.
conversation with us. Yes, sir. So that's wrap our conversation with Prasad, sir, the brilliant mind behind Sadyantra. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Make sure to grab your copy of Sadyantra and read about the Sadyantra of China. Thank you, sir. Keep
You're
reading.
welcome, and thank you to all your readers for
Yes, sir.
listening to me.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day, sir.
Same to you.